What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Reignmakers Fantasy Golf Show presented by DraftKings Reignmakers. A bit of a crazy week. No Monday episode between TJ and myself recapping what was the John Deere Classic. And we have a double dip this current week. We've got the Genesis Scottish Open, and then we've got the Barbasol Championship. A crazy weekend of golf ahead of us. And then in a week from now, we've got another double dip next week that we will be very much prepping for, because one of the tournaments is our fourth and final major of the year, the Open Championship. Next week is going to be a big week of golf at OTM. Going to do a big golf stream. Going to have a massive Blitz fantasy golf contest for the Open Championship and the final major of the year. So should be pretty fun to get into that for the Open. But a lot to talk through today. Two golf tournaments ahead of us. I want to quickly cover the John Deere really quickly. I was in Vegas over the weekend, and it was quite difficult to see a lot of the golf. I don't know if you guys also had struggles or difficulties seeing the golf, but it just wasn't on in Vegas. I was pretty shocked at how little I was able to catch. I did not catch much of Sunday's round from Sepp Straka. I was on Twitter basically all of his back nine, saw him make the 4 birdies in a row. It was totally history watch. Had a very good shot to shoot 58. Had 4 holes left. One of those holes was a par 5. Needed 1 birdie to shoot 59. Needed 2 birdies to shoot what would be a PGA Tour record 58. So was certainly trying to follow as much of Sepp's round as I possibly could. Unfortunately, he did not birdie the par 5. He goes into the final hole, the 18th. If he made birdie, would have shot a 59. So he made 3 pars in a row. And then on the 18th, he makes a double bogey, 6 to then shoot a 62. And went on to still win the tournament. Won the tournament by 2 shots over Brandon Todd and Alex Smalley. Those 2 golfers were really the only 2 golfers that had a chance to catch Sepp Straka last week and weren't able to do so, weren't able to play a strong enough back nine. I did think there was a solid chance, again, just following along on Twitter, that there were birdies out there early in the back nine that Sepp might get at least caught and get into a playoff, but wasn't the case. 68 for Brendan Todd on Sunday, 67 for Alex Smalley. Both good scores, but not enough to match the 62 that Sepp put up. So yeah, his second win on the PGA Tour for Sepp Straka. And yeah, I think the way that the Europeans have been playing over the course of the last month or so, especially with the emergence of the rookie Ludwig Aberg, the European Ryder Cup team, and we're going to have a Ryder Cup Reignmakers event. The European Ryder Cup team has to be running on highs. Meanwhile, on the USA side of things, guys like Justin Thomas have been struggling. We know Justin is going to be on the squad. Him and Jordan just play so well together. He's going to be on the team. Hasn't played well as of late. And frankly, there's a lot of decisions to make on the USA Ryder Cup team. Captain Zach Johnson is going to have his hands full in making some of the final decisions between guys like Tony Finau, Wyndham Clark, Justin Thomas probably in that mix a little bit, but like I said, I do think Justin will be in there. So it'll be a very interesting Ryder Cup this year. After our fourth major, the Open Championship. That's probably the premier golf event on the calendar in 2023. Love me some Ryder Cup and can't wait to be talking about Ryder Cup this year. But it was relevant to bring up with Sepp winning again and Europe continuing to be rather strong in terms of their performances over the course of the last month or so. All right, this week is a bit of a strange week. We've got split events. We've got the Scottish Open, where we have a lot of big name players. Scotty Scheffler is the highliner on the show, the headliner, if you will. He is what I believe to be his plus 600 to win the tournament. Rory follows Scotty at plus 1,000. Then you have guys like Patrick Cantlay, Tyrrell Hatton, Xander Schauffele, who was last year's winner in the field. And then even below those guys, we've got Victor Hovland, Tommy Fleetwood playing great golf, Matt Fitzpatrick, who has some of the best course history around the Scottish Open, Wyndham Clark, who has been playing fantastic golf, the U.S. Open winner, Shane Lowry, Adam Scott, guys who have pedigree, who have tons of victories overseas in the land of golf in Scotland. So we've got a very strong field at the Scottish Open. And then we have an alternate event, the Barbasol Championship, which is being held in Kentucky. So we go from the land of golf in Scotland over to the land of horse racing and bourbon in Kentucky for the Barbasol Championship. Not as strong of a field, especially from a Rainmaker perspective. Shout out Berrig. I leaned on Berrig a good bit this week. So if you're not over there in the Jolly Jokers Discord, you got to get over there. Berrig and others always providing a great set of information. I met up with several guys, 2-3 guys in Vegas this weekend, talking golf, talking Rainmakers. Said, man, I really wanted Berrig to be here. Shout out Stogie in the chat. One of the guys who said this really wanted Berrig to be in Vegas this weekend so he could buy him a beer. Well-deserved beer from Berrig for all the good information nuggets that he's posting over there in our Discord, talking Rainmakers PGA. So shout out Berrig. Leaned on him this week. There's 56 Rainmakers golfers in a field. Let me make sure I get this right. There's 156 golfers in the field at the Barbasol Championship. And of that 156, there are, where'd it go here? Where are we at? I'm going to find it. Let me find it. There are 57 golfers out in the Rainmaker streets out of a field of 156. So only about 1/3 of the field have Rainmakers cards. Tons of, DP World Tour golfers, tons of guys, honestly, who I've really never even heard of, but it's going to be fun to kind of click through. You'll notice if you've set your lineups this week, you can set your lineups for alternate events. I haven't tried to upload my teams just yet. I'll be making the journey tonight to go upload my team. So I know one person did struggle with the export for the alternate events. So keep that in mind when you're putting your teams together. You may need to manually go into DraftKings to enter those teams. I know, I'm going to go manually into DraftKings for taking a look at the Barbasol and the lineups that I could put together this week. I've got a couple Justin Lauer rares. Justin Lauer, the news with Justin Lauer last week was a bit unfortunate. Came down with COVID, had to withdraw overnight. Actually hurt a good bit of my John Deere lineups, 2 rares that I had him slotted into some solid lineups last week. So that hurt a little bit, but he will be coming off COVID. I know that there was a couple of questions in our Discord surrounding COVID and the PGA Tour. I did some research this morning. I tried to look up everything and anything that I could. Lauer is in the field. Therefore, I'm making a presumption that after his withdrawal last week, he's fully healthy. He's back. He's able to be in the field this week at the Barbasol. I haven't seen any other COVID news. Now, if we do get any information news, we'll be sure to put it over there in the Discord. But, I know that once COVID starts sweeping, it can be easy for other people to contract it. Hopefully we don't have any last minute withdrawals. Those have been pretty treacherous this year in terms of like overnight withdrawals or very early morning withdrawals. We've had several of them that have caused a lot of havoc with lineups. And if you're like me, I wasn't up early enough last week to get the Justin Lauer news. So unfortunately, that hurt a couple of my lineups. Would have been pure chaos, honestly, trying to get 2 cards out of my lineups, reshuffling them. Might have just been able to combine those 2 lineups I had into one. But I haven't seen anything that indicates there's a ton of COVID out there. So we'll go through both the Scottish Open and the Barbasol. All of our tools are centered around the Scottish Open. So when we go through our site, otmnft.com, you'll notice everything really is related to the Scottish Open. And I built all of my Scottish Open teams. We'll go through my teams. We'll go through your questions. And shout out you guys in the chat. Shout out Josh Allen, JM. Shout out Briggs. John Briggs been crushing it over there in the Blitz fantasy golf streets. I know Briggs got like 3 cashes in a row. So shout out Briggs and the KOD gang for getting over into the Blitz fantasy golf streets. If you got questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to put them in the chat. Feel free to jump over and put them in our Discord. I'll make sure I go through all of those. I like those golfer decisions, those captain decisions, those 1v1s, those 2v2s. Hit me with all of those, and we'll make this show a bit of an interactive show between yourself and myself. All right. All that said, let's get into the Scottish Open this week. So, one thing to note, Scottish Open, it's been held at this course, which is the, I want to make sure I get the name of it right. Got 2 courses in my head. Where are we at here? Why can't I find it? Hang on. Bear with me here, guys. Bear with me here. I want to say Centurion, but I know that's wrong because I know that's the Live course. And boy, there's a lot to cover on Live. Maybe we'll cover that if there's a question or two near the end of the show. But it's played at the Renaissance Club in North Berwick, Scotland. It's been played here for the last 4 years. Prior to last year, it was always played as a DP World Tour event. Last year, it did play as a PGA Tour event where FedEx Cup points were awarded. So we really only have a 1 year worth of like that PGA Tour data. The previous data has all been DP World Tour data, which certainly is different, brings about different fields. And as you can see this year, we've got a strong field with it being the week ahead of the Open Championship. But just to note on that, so last year, Xander Schauffele wins at 7 under par. The year before that, Min Woo Lee won at 18 under par. And the difference is, as always, in the land of golf over in Scotland, the difference between 2021's 18 under par and 2022's 7 under par is wind, rain, and conditions. In Scotland, these courses are going to play a bit easier when we don't get those blustery winds, when we don't get sideways rain, when we don't get golfers out in the rain for all 18 holes. People are going to make more birdies. That's just the common sense nature of playing in windy, rainy conditions. Less birdies are going to be out there. Pars are a great score, and that's just how Scotland golf gets played. And so this week, whenever I took a look at the conditions, boy, oh boy, are we in for some fun golf. If you don't like conditions, you ain't going to like this week, because rain and wind is pretty much in the forecast for all 4 days. It does look like Friday PM, the PM wave is going to face tons of wind, a lot more wind than the morning seems to be facing. And hey, guys, as you know, I'm definitely not a weatherman, so weather can turn on a dime. I'm pretty much always just ignoring weather, but this week we certainly cannot ignore it. When I looked it up, let me share my screen here, show what I'm looking at here. Yeah, here we are, North Berwick. Thursday, AM showers, Friday showers, Saturday showers, and then Sunday, what's going to be a crazy day. When you look down here at the wind on Sunday, come afternoon, it's 25-mile-an-hour gusts at 3 p.m. on Sunday. So it's going to be a very interesting afternoon as we try to crown a champion of the Scottish Open. But you can see Thursday, pretty much wind that's not too crazy for Scottish conditions, 7 to 12 miles an hour. Doesn't look like there's much of a difference. But then Friday, you get this like early morning wave where it's only 7-8 mile an hour conditions, similar to what Thursday does. And then Friday afternoon, it ratchets up. It's up to 15 miles an hour. It's gusty. It's going to be raining. So yeah, I think conditions are going to be firmly in effect this week. I think the chance that this thing gets more than 10 under par is pretty slim if this rain and wind does persist for the entire time, especially these Sunday conditions. If someone's 6, 7, 8 under par, I don't think they're going to be out there firing at birdies. You're going to be wanting to, make pars, protect the lead. And if someone goes out and shoots a low score, they shoot a low score, but it's not going to be a lot of low scores in the golf course, in my opinion. So look for this to be somewhere around 10 under par, or even under 10 under par for the winner It does play as a par 70, which instantly makes me think about the all rounds under 70 bonus on DraftKings, which changes a ton in Rainmakers, especially from a captain's perspective. 5 points for a non-captain golfer, 7.5 points for a captain golfer, going to change a lot of leaderboards when it comes down to finishing position. So, that's something I'm taking a look at. All right, let's jump over to our site, our tools. As always, this is otmnft.com, the Rainmakers Pro Tools. I am always starting my research, my process here on our players tab. Let me scan in. What's it look like on your guys' screen here? All right, that looks like to be good. Yeah, I'm always starting my process on our players tab, looking at guys who have the best odds on the tournament. And, for me, I think this really gives me a quick view at guys in my collection and guys not in my collection. I have no Rory in my collection. Can Rory win this golf tournament? Absolutely. Would I be shocked if Rory win this golf tournament? Definitely not. Maybe conditions, maybe a challenging Scotland course is something that, brings out the victory for Rory. Rory's played fantastic golf over the last month or so. I think if you asked him, he would say he still doesn't have his A game. He hasn't been the closer that he wants to be in terms of trying to win golf tournaments on Saturday and Sunday. But boy, his statistical profile is pretty strong. Probably the best driver of the golf ball in all of the PGA Tour. In this field, definitely the best driver of the golf ball. So it's going to be very interesting to watch the top of the board here. Scheffler, McIlroy, Cantlay battle it out. The guy that stood out to me, honestly, in these top five, though, is Tyrrell Hatton. Such high odds, plus 1,600 for Tyrrell. Looked in his stat profile. Everything lines up. Just playing great, great golf. Obviously, given his hometown, given his historical profile of where he plays golf, he's played a lot of events on the DP Tour. Definitely has played in conditions. Can certainly play in conditions that this week is going to present. So Tyrrell Hatton, I've seen a lot of guys in the industry talking Tyrrell Hatton. But for me, in my article this week, I came all the way down. Yes, I could have wrote up Scheffler. Yes, I could have wrote up McIlroy. Yes, I could have wrote up Cantlay. I'm coming all the way down to a guy named Tommy Fleetwood. Statistical profile on Fleetwood is really good. Probably playing the best golf of his career. Hasn't had his first PGA Tour win. What would be more righteous for Fleetwood to get a PGA Tour win at an event that used to be a DP World Tour event? So Fleetwood, to me, someone who his price is right from a Rainmaker standpoint. If you look at where he's priced at around these guys, $925, $35 for rare, $190 for an elite. I really, really like Fleetwood this week. And my second pick in the article this week is Matt Fitzpatrick. Fleetwood has strong history, but Matt Fitzpatrick probably has the best course history in this event in the last 4 years. I believe he's finished inside the top 10, 3 out of those 4 years. So I really like Fitzpatrick this week. I think his game fits really well for tough conditions. He's the kind of golfer who just seemingly won't be phased, just will continue about his game, his way. So I like Fitzpatrick a good bit this week. $875 for a core, $33.50 for a rare, $169 for an elite. Fitzpatrick definitely on a short list for me this week. I have both a rare and a core Fitzpatrick, so you'll see where I put him in my lineups this week in terms of lineup builds. And when you get to the middle of the field here, a lot of great golfers. Wyndham Clark, U.S. Open champion. Shane Lowry, multiple time the Open Championship winner. Adam Scott, we've talked about Adam Scott all year long, playing some fantastic golf. Seeing him as short as 4,500, honestly, in this field surprised me. So the betting market definitely adjusting for the type of golf that Adam Scott is playing. I think his price is probably some of the most fair that I've seen. $680, $18 rare, $19 rare here, and $127 elite. I don't think anybody, above him is cheaper. So I like Adam Scott a good bit for that price. I think he has win equity in this event. Think if the conditions aren't great, he's one of those golfers where I think initially I would have thought that conditions might impact Adam Scott more than others, but his ball striking has been so good and his putter has come around all year. So I think he's probably more prone to play well in bad conditions than play worse in bad conditions. As always, it's really, really difficult already to predict and to think through golf in general as a sport with the level of variance that's in it. But then you add conditions into the mix and it's kind of impossible. Just sort of talking through guys and options that, might make sense or reasons why guys might struggle. But, if you're talking about pedigree, if you're talking about experience, not many more guys on tour with more experience, more pedigree than a guy like Adam Scott. So perfectly fine with someone like Adam Scott. We keep going down the list. You get into this like deep 6,000 plus range. And this is where I feel like there's some solid like chances that you can take on guys in a top lineup, in a lineup that is pretty chalky, that you have a Scheffler and a Rory or a Scheffler and a Cantlay or Scheffler, Cantlay, Hatton. You're looking to get different. I think you can come down to guys like, Aaron Rai, who's won this event, Alex Smalley coming off what was a great performance last week at the John Deere Classic, probably his best performance of the year. But I also looked up Alex Smalley in terms of FedEx Cup rankings, and you can see here Alex Smalley moved up from 55th, which is already very good. We know top 50 gets into the BMW Championship. He moved to 43rd, so he's moving his way up the FedEx Cup playoff list. Then I take a look at his price. You're talking about $369 for a core, $11 for a rare, $69. Hashtag nice, $69 for an elite. And this guy is going to play, or is trending at least to play in several PGA Tour playoff events. So I like Smalley. And then after that, it's sort of a little all over the place. Seamus Power has found a little bit more of recent form. I like the way he's shaping up. We'll see how he continues and see if he can string a few events together. But Seamus Power went through what felt like a 2-month stretch where wasn't playing his best golf. And then over the course of the last several weeks has seemingly found something. So I like the way Power shapes up. But, we've got Brian Harman down here at plus 11,000. 2 weeks ago, Brian Harman was all the way up, as you guys know, if you watch this show, all the way up at plus 4,500. So it's definitely a much stronger field. I think you're going to see a lot of lineups with guys at the top of this board that pair Scheffler and Rory with a guy like Hovland or Fitzpatrick or Homa. I think you're going to see a lot of lineups at the top of this board. If you come down a little bit, I think there's easy ways to get different that make you certainly less likely to be duped, but also give you just as high of upside. So I really think this mid-range, it goes from like 3,500 Max Homa to plus 7,500 Aaron Rai. And you can even, I could even see making a case for Gary Woodland or Alex Smalley. And again, if conditions present themselves, it just adds another layer of variance that is really, really hard to predict. Whereas I'm comfortable, taking shots. So this is the kind of week, especially given the dual nature to events, it's hard to say, okay, I'm going to add this guy to my portfolio. If you've got a strong lineup at the top, I can see making a case to adding, someone like a Fitzpatrick or someone like, an Aaron Rai or even an Alex Smalley, guys that are one, going to add utility in the future for the FedEx Cup playoffs, but then two, who have winning upside, who have chances to find their way into a winning DraftKings Reignmakers lineup this week. So I think it's a bit wide open, not just at the Scottish Open, but also at the Barbasol. The Barbasol, completely different field than this, a very, very different field. I believe Justin Lauer, and let's find this event here. I believe Justin Lauer is the highest ranked player in terms of FedEx Cup points in this field. Let's go field. Let's go rank by FedEx Cup rank. Yes, Justin Lauer ranked 93rd, top of the FedEx Cup rankings in this field in terms of, who's playing golf this week, and only 57 Reignmakers players. I think this is the kind of event where if you've got a lineup, enter that lineup, but I would not be adding any of these golfers to a profile unless it's at the core level, spending a couple of bucks to maybe make a rare lineup better. But, for me personally, not sure the utility that these golfers are going to add going forward. Now, that said, these golfers could play a ton in the fall swing as we enter the fall swing when guys like Scheffler and Rahm and Rory are not going to play a ton. These golfers who are grinding, trying to keep their tour card, certainly could play, but honestly, it's very, very difficult to predict. Hard to predict who might play, who might not play, what events they'll play in. It's a fool's errand to try to predict those things. So to me, I'm mostly playing with the collection that I have, putting together the lineups that I'm able to put together, and hoping the golf gods lie in my favor this week, especially at the Barbasol Championship. Barbasol, just really quickly while we're talking about it, it is going to be most likely a birdie fest. Wrote this up in my lineup, or sorry, in my article this week. Let's see, what do we write up? Let me just bring up the article. If you guys haven't seen it, you can go to our site either on the OTM homepage or on the content page. You'll see the latest article is the double dip this week, Scottish and the Barbasol. The Barbasol, the last 3 years, 25 under par last year, 21 under par the year before that, 26 under par the year before that. It's been running at this course for the last 5 years. Each of the last 5 years, we've basically seen a birdie fest. So it is going to be a birdie fest, even in a field that is, I use the term weak, but like these just aren't your high-end PGA Tour golfers. Tons of DP World Tour golfers in this field. You're still going to need to make a lot of birdies in order to win this event. You're still most likely with, and I was looking this up. Let's go DraftKings. Oh, we're going to do some crafting. I got some crafting ready. We are going to talk through Barbasol directly on DraftKings, but let's go to the lobby first and look at the delta between the alternate event and the main event, the Barbasol versus the Scottish Open in terms of entries. So let's go rare, probably the best judge in terms of differences here. So 3.4K in the guaranteed cash for the Scottish Open, 2K to first. And then 2K cash to first, but only 25 guaranteed in the Barbasol. We got 2.3K. So only 1,000 less lineups, but definitely less lineups. This makes me believe that, I don't know, tons of these lineups are just going to be any 5 golfers that you own. If you get into the elite contests, we've got 1.4K at this point in the Scottish Open contest, 75K guaranteed, and only 652. So about half the amount in the 50K guaranteed contest. I think this is a really fun contest. Still 10K cash to first, only 50K guaranteed cash, but I like that. The reason for 10K cash to first and less prize pool is because less entries. So still going to be a really strong lineup. I'm unfortunately unable to get an elite lineup. I only have one elite card. It's a Kevin Roy. I like Kevin Roy, played well last week at the John Deere, but only have one elite card to play in the portfolio. And like I said, not going to be adding 2 elites to be able to get into this contest, but that's just how my portfolio lined up. If your portfolio lines up well here and you're looking to play in this event or this contest, I really like the upside of 10K to first with, what will be most likely somewhere around 1,000 participants, I would think. Maybe a little less than 1,000 participants, 1,000 lineups in this contest. So definitely less than we've typically seen. I think this contest will push 2K. We've seen the elite in a regular event where there are the majority of Reignmakers players in the event. We've seen these push 2K. This event might be a little less just because it is in Scotland. It is an event where DP World Tour players are playing in it. But in general, I think this will push pretty damn close to 2K. Stogie says, I like the Smalley call. Might pick one up tonight. Yeah, I think his price is very fair. I think he has upside. Smalley is always going to be a guy that struggles with the putter, but I believe his iron game, his approach game, pretty strong. Coming on, playing well last week. So I was pretty shocked. I didn't know what his ranking was in terms of the FedEx Cup ranking, but to see him sitting at 43rd, very good chance to play not just one playoff event, very good chance if he plays well to play 2 playoff events and to move into what is the top 30, which would be fantastic to get into the Tour Championship over there in Atlanta, Georgia at East Lake, where there's only going to be 30 golfers. There is going to be DraftKings Reignmakers events and contests and money to be won. So I know, we've been talking about this for a couple weeks now, but I would be angling your portfolio at this point to trying to have guys in that top 50 of the FedEx Cup playoff points list, because you're going to have a very fun time in those contests, that are the playoff contests of the FedEx St. Jude, the BMW, and the Tour Championship. All deluxe contests, all 350K prize pools, tons of money with very, very limited fields, much more limited fields than we're used to seeing in DraftKings Reignmakers. So it should be quite fun. All right. Let's go back to the lineup builder. Let's take a look at what we've got this week. All right. So I'm pretty weak this week. Honestly, pretty weak across the board. For Elite, I was able to put 2 lineups together. And Adam Scott, Brian Harmon, JT Poston, Elite 3, and then a Lee Hodges, Joseph Bramlett, Luke List, Elite 3. As you can see, as always, these days, I'm jamming into the 75K guaranteed contest. I am looking at this secondary lineup, and I'm just hoping that I'm on the right side of golf variance. I can sneak 5 guys through the cut and possibly get a couple of guys running up the board into the top 20, into the top 10, and get a cash from this secondary lineup. Do I think that this lineup is live to win the contest? Most likely not. Not with like names like Scotty Scheffler and Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, and I'm playing guys like Lee Hodges and Joseph Bramlett and Luke List. But we honestly just never know. And for me, just trying to claw back as much as I possibly can in terms of ROI. So pretty happy to get 2 lineups in this week and have a sweat. You'll see I'm playing my strong rares in this top lineup. Got a Scotty Scheffler and a Patrick Cantlay. Happy playing them together. They're going to be high owned in this contest, but I proved out a theory last week that I didn't think would be possible. So last week I had a 4 of 5 lineup where I had Emiliano Grillo in my captain spotted Elite, but I had a Smalley in there, and I didn't have Straka. I had another guy in the top 10, and I was able to cash for $75. Cashing for $75 absent a captain, and absent a captain getting through the cut, to me, honestly, would have thought it was impossible. So it is possible if you get a guy like a Smalley who's pretty low owned running up into the top 3 and, God forbid, winning the tournament. So I do think it is possible to cash. So to me, just makes more sense to be playing these big time guaranteed cash contests versus any of the other contests out there. I'll continue to keep an eye on it, and would love to hear from you guys if you're playing other contests that you think have an edge over the guaranteed contest. I just don't know that. From what I've seen, from what I've looked at, I don't know that it's worth playing any of the other contests versus just playing the guaranteed contest at this point in time. I will say my only caveat there is playing the rare, elite, or legendary gated contest. If you have access to those contests, I think they're the most fun contests. Shout out Sergeant Stogie in Vegas this weekend. We were sweating some awesome teams that he had in the elite gated last week. He had a lineup that did end up cashing into the top 13 for $500, I believe, cashed something like 10th or 11th place, $500. He did the comparison if he would have entered it in the elite guaranteed contest, it would have, I believe, min cashed or maybe one level above min cash. So would have got either $75 or $100 from that lineup. So to get 500 out of that lineup, 5x more, I think it really makes sense if you're able to get in those elite and rare, elite, and legendary gated contests. Take advantage of them, even if you don't want the experience. I think it's a more fun contest to sweat. I think the cash lines are going to be a little lower given they pay out all the way to 13 spots. And I think you can always cash in the experience. They DraftKings in their terms and conditions, you can cash in for cash your entry, where if you're in the top 3, it would go to the 4th person and so on and so forth. Stogie says, I like the rare single entry. If I remember, same top prize is guaranteed with a lot less entries. Yes, I believe that is the case. Let's take a look at that. Rare single entry, 1.5K to first versus the 2K to first, 416 lineups versus the 2.4K. So yeah, Yeah, 3.5K. Sorry, because we got to compare apples to apples here. This is for the Scottish Open. So yeah, I guess what I have seen in these contests, Stogie, in my opinion, is guys are playing really strong lineups. So if you're opting to play the single entry, then I think you're looking to play your best rare team that you can in single entry. And I think that's a perfectly fine approach. It is single entry, so I don't think you really have to worry about getting duplicated. Maybe if you've got the top 5 guys in the odds board in one lineup, maybe it's possible you'd get duped. But if you're making, any sort of concession down the odds board at your 5th spot, and definitely if you're making concessions at 4th and 5th spot, I have to believe you won't be duped and you should be pretty strong there. So give that one a look. This is one that I haven't played in a while, or if I have played it, I haven't really done too much analysis other than understanding that the top guys from an odds perspective are typically in the neighborhood of 25 to 28% owned. I'm not sure that I've seen anybody push 30% owned in any contest, maybe in a gated contest because there is such a small amount of entries. Someone had pushed 30%, but I think the gated entry is probably the only spot I've seen anywhere near 30, but 25 to 28 seems to be the biggest number that I saw. And then even when someone is 25% owned, we're still only seeing captain percentages like 4, 5. I think most I've ever saw is like 8%. So I still think it's perfectly fine to be quote unquote playing chalk in an event like the Scottish Open. If you're holding a Rory, a Scotty, personally, I just wouldn't be fading. I wouldn't be trying to get too cute. I'd be jamming them into the captain spot and seeing where the chips fall. Just very hard to make the right decisions. And yeah, if you're willing to, get different, just know that you could be facing some quote unquote pain when the chalk hits, and that's perfectly fine in golf. So just my experience. That said, I'm literally sitting here thinking out loud. Rain, wind, adding to the variance. Maybe this is the week you go different. Maybe this is the week Victor Hovland is your captain. You still have a Scotty in there. I think to me, it's like if you're playing Scotty, to me, I'm playing him as captain, but there's definitely those small edges where you're thinking about Victor being 2% and Scotty being 5% in captain. If Victor wins the tournament, you're going to be quite happy and ahead of a lot of guys that have Scotty as their captain. So as always, you got to put the 5 puzzle pieces together, and it's quite difficult to do. But those are the kind of decisions that we're talking about when it comes to captain decisions, and especially when we're talking about captain decisions anywhere near the top of this player's odds board with Scheffler, Rory, Cantlay. From my perspective, all the way down to Fitzpatrick, I'd be pretty confident with these. What's this? 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 golfers, and the thin decision points between captaining any one of these guys. So that's just my take. All right. My lineups went through the top 2. Got a Fitz captain. You guys know I wrote up Fitz. I like Fitz a good bit. Homa and Tom Kim, no idea. Hoping that they can find something ahead of the Open here. Corey Connors, love the ball striking as always, and then Scotty. What do I got? I got a little after this, it gets a little thin. Smalley, Woodland, Alex Noren. This guy, Alex Noren, I'm honestly quite tempted to sell. Alex Noren, just been such a pain in my collection, in my portfolio. I seem to always have Noren in a pretty good lineup when he plays pretty terrible. And then when he plays good, I have seemingly played him down. I'm playing him back up into the second lineup because plus 9,000 odds is much better than plus 18,000. Sure, I could swap a Seamus Power here, but I'm playing the odds here. I'm just going to let the betting odds dictate. I've got a little Alex Noren here. Xander Schauffele, defending champion, playing all my core cards up, as you all know. Core, just very, very, very impossible to win. Even if you have a really good lineup, you're looking at $5, $10, unless you're taking down the top prize, which is basically the Stone Cold Nuts, the winner as a captain, and several other guys in not just the top 10, not just the top 20, but even the top 10. So I think core is very hard to win. So I'm happily playing up my core cards into these rare contests and playing up my rare cards into those elite contests. Yeah, like Fleetwood a good bit. 2 Fleetwood captain core lineups. 2 Aaron Rise, previous winner. So yeah, I like the way this week shapes out. Even though my top end lineups, I usually have, based on my collection, I usually am able to field what I think is a really strong elite team. This week with Harman and Poston, I need golf variants to strike on the best side for me. Poston has been playing sort of hot and cold, definitely more cold than hot, but last week made a run at the John Deere, played pretty well. Harman definitely been a little hot and cold, but definitely a little more hot, I think, than cold. So hoping those guys play well in the same week, and then hoping some of the chalk ends up being fine with Scheffler, Cantlay, and even a guy like Adam Scott. So yeah, I'll be putting him into that 75K guaranteed prize pool, 10K to first. All right. Stogie says, putting his best team in that rare single entry contest, minus if there is a gated. Yeah, think that makes sense. So I'll be sure to stay in touch with you, Stogie, this week and see how things pan out. All right. Any questions? No questions from the chat here. There are a few questions in Discord that I'm going to get through. I have crafted one lineup on stream. It was an elite and ended up being a Grayson Sig. Actually, shout out Grayson Sig. Been playing pretty good since I've had him in my portfolio. Not in any of the events this week, so won't be playing any Grayson Sig this week. But I do have a rare crafting token and have the ability to craft a couple of cores here for a rare crafting pack. Thought that might be pretty fun. Initially, I had Matt Every in my 3 to be crafted, and then I saw Giant Hammer's post, shout out Giant Hammer, that Every's in the field this week. So I didn't want to play Every, or I didn't want to craft Every. I've got 3 guys who I don't really think play. I'm not even sure who this guy is. Dawi Vanderwalt, no idea. Charlie Wee, I've heard the name, but really don't know if he's played any events. I have no idea. And Heath Slocum, definitely heard the name. Not somebody who's going to play a ton of events. So I'm happily ready to craft these guys into what is a rare. So I thought we could do it on stream. As always, crafting recipes will continue to be pretty fun, I think, as we end or head towards the end of what will be the PGA Tour 2023 season with the playoffs and then into the fall swing. So I expect more crafting. Missing a permission. What's happening? All right, let's retry this. I think I got it all. Let's refresh. See what that does. Oh, do I need 2 crafting tokens? Oh no. All right, we're still gonna do it. Buy an eligible collectible. I did this last time, and someone on stream was like, "Don't buy that one. There's ones available still." So does anyone know? Shout me out in chat if anyone knows if I can buy these from the marketplace. Let's go here. Marketplace. Yeah, I can still buy it. All right, rare crafting token, $9.99. You make one mistake one time, it's maybe on somebody else, but if you make it twice, it's on you. Thankfully, we didn't make it twice. All right. Got it. While I do that, looks like Briggs got a question. Have a preference between Adam Scott and Corey Connors? Yeah, let's take a look. Shout out Rick Run Good. I like to use his site for data. Let's go head-to-head matchups. I think I would opt Adam Scott, just playing a little better than Corey Connors. I think playing in the rain, probably a little better for someone like Adam Scott. So let's see what the old comparison tool looks like on Rick Run Good. I think Rick's got one of the best golf data sites. So I use this a good bit to try to get some data insights. Oh, not Scheffler. Corey Connors, let's see. Oh, looks like Corey Connor's gonna outstroke. So what this is doing is actually saying, number of rounds, 36 rounds, which is pretty good sample size. How many times does Adam Scott gain 0+ strokes, 1+ stroke, 2+ stroke in comparison to Corey Connor? So Corey Connors actually gains 0 strokes plus a little bit more, 66% versus 63, 61%. He gains 1+ at 50%. 44% versus 36. He gains 2+. Adam Scott, when he plays well, gains 3+ strokes and 4+ strokes on the field, a bit more than Corey Connors. Yeah, this is pretty much a coin flip. Statistical profiles, I'm still going to opt Adam Scott. That was my gut, so I'm going to stick. I think it's pretty close to what would be a coin flip. It looks like if you're talking about projected money lines here using this format, Connors would be a -14 favorite. I'd certainly be perfectly fine. Perfectly fine laying the odds and taking plus 114 plus 114 money on Adam Scott. Love it. Explore Informed. What's going on? Heath Slocum has 4 career PGA Tour wins. I would have had no idea. Last one is in 2010. Had no idea that he had 4 career PGA Tour wins. Should we not burn a Heath Slocum? Let's go back and craft it. I've always struggled to get to crafting. I only know that I go Reignmakers home page and then trade in. I don't know any other way to get there. If you guys know a better way, let me know. All right, let's see what else we have to craft then, if that's the case. Should we not be crafting? I could be crafting a Jason Duffner. Yeah, no problem, Briggs. Appreciate the question. I could be crafting a Jason Duffner. Are Explore Informed, are you saying that you would rather me craft the Duff Daddy over Heath Slocum? I know Duffner's playing a good bit. I just haven't seen anybody. I haven't seen Slocum play. That said, if he did play, I probably would have just skipped over his name, quite frankly. All right, we'll go Duff Daddy unless you got a different comment there. Explore Informed. Happy that you're listening to the show. Hope all is well. All right, who else did I have in here? Where's Vanderwalt? Not even sure who that guy is. So we're definitely crafting this guy. Dawi. Sorry, man. And then I have 2 Mike Weirs, but yeah, I really don't even know who Charlie Wee is, so I'm happy to craft him. All right, so I need 2 of these. I'm kind of confused. Why does it not have another slot? Oh, I just needed 2 to be able to burn? Very wild. Wow, he's going off memory. Shout out you for going off memory. Slocum hasn't made a cut since 2018. Oh well, we crafted Duff Daddy. So maybe Slocum makes a cut the next time he plays. All right, let's see what we got. I really do like the crafting tool. You give up 3 cores. Frankly, I'm not playing that many cores, core contests. And when I am playing core contests, you guys heard me. I'm playing all my good cores up into rare. And that leaves me with not the best core elements and going to be really hard to win the top prize there at $1,000. So I'm fine crafting my cores. Now, that said, when you get into needing to craft rares for elites, I'm really comfortable with my rare portfolio. I've kind of crafted a rare portfolio of guys who I like, number one, and who I think can play golf, can win tournaments on the PGA Tour. So I'm less likely to be crafting rares. Of course, I take a look. I did craft 1, but when you craft 3 rares for a Grayson Sig elite, I mean, it is what it is. It's we're playing games here. We're gambling a little bit, so it's fun. All right, let's open this up. Let's see what we get. Skip it. Who we getting? Chad Ramey. I like Ramey. I like Ramey's upside. I've got a good bit of Ramey in core. Don't have any Ramey in rare. So I'll take some Chad. Ramey found himself at a couple of events near the top of the board. I believe he has a first round leader this year. Can't recall which event that might have been, but I believe in one of these first rounds, he was like 8 under and led in the first round. So I like Chad Ramey a good bit, and maybe that will pay off in the full swing. So happy with that craft. Just wanted to showcase crafting on the Reignmakers site. I do think it's one of the cooler parts of Reignmakers. Gets you the ability to leverage, tier down a set of cards and get one asset in the tier above. So pretty cool. All right. That will do it on crafting. What else is out there? Oh, there are gated again this week. So let's do this. Take a look at what this looks like. I was on the fence here. I need a purchase. I need to make a purchase to get into the gated for this week. It is which one is this? Yeah, it is Open Championship winners, 3 rare or 3 elites. I believe I have 3 elite. I'm not sure. I have 2 elite. I don't even have 2 rares, I don't believe. But I'm holding Adam Scott elite. I'm holding Hideki Matsuyama elite. So I was going to make a purchase. Maybe this Matt Fitzpatrick elite does find its way into my portfolio before the night is over, and before lineups are locked tomorrow. I'd probably be leaning a guy like Fitz, or I've said Lowry as well. What's the pricing here? Let's take a look at this. I do think these gated contests are really fun. I personally would love to go to one of these events if I was lucky enough to win the top 3 prizing. Just seems like an awesome golf experience. I've only been to what now 3 live PGA Tour events in my life. All of them have just been general admission type tickets. If you're able to get uh I lie. I did have one kind of work event where the U.S. Open, as I got some access to one of the tents, but I opted to be walking around the golf course with the golfers anyways. But I do think if you get to watch DraftKings roll out the red carpet, I think that could be pretty fun. All right, Fitzy Elite 180, Shane Lowry Elite 140, $40 difference. This actually makes a ton of sense. Like Fitz a little more than Shane Lowry. But I think both those guys are pretty solid. Should be pretty solid for the playoffs. Let's see. Let's see what that looks like. Lowry versus Lowry. Lowry 59th, up from 77, so up 18 spots. Fitzpatrick 23rd, up from 33rd. Yeah, I think this is I think as the season goes on, we continue to see that this market is priced relatively efficiently in a lot of spots. Sure, there are some opportunities to be had, but Fitzy 10 spots, almost 20 spots ahead on the FedEx Cup list, $40 more than Shane Lowry. If you gun to my head, I had to pick one of them, I'd go Fitzy. Just going to give you a little bit more utility. Probably has a little bit bigger ceiling than Shane Lowry does these days. But Shane Lowry, definitely sneaky pick to win this week and then win the Open potentially as well. So I like either of those guys. Who else is in that list? Where'd it go? I don't want to be buying a Mike Weir. It's probably really cheap, but honestly, who knows when Mike Weir is going to play again? Rory, pretty expensive. Rahm, pretty expensive. Jason Day hurt. That's the only reason that gives me a little pause. Frankie Molinari, actually had a Frankie Molinari earlier in the season, sold him off. No idea when and where he'll be playing. Danny Willett, same sort of thing. Danny Willett playing better golf than anyone would have anticipated, I think. Struggled for a couple years, then found himself back in the mix in a couple of different tournaments. Danny Willett, the Masters champion. So an interesting one here. So it is major winners. So that's what Danny Willett has won. Always remember him in the green jacket for some reason. So yeah, interesting one. If you have a chance to get any 3 of these golfers, rare, elite, or legendary, get yourself into that gated contest and enjoy the sweat. It's always a fun one. So, all right. What else we got? What else do we have? I think that's going to be it. I'm wondering, we got a good crowd here. Let's see if I got any Discord questions I need to hit on. And then I think let's open up a Blitz Best Ball pack, Blitz Fantasy Golf pack, and let's give it away on the show. All right. Doesn't look like a ton of questions this week. Yeah, short and sweet week. 2 events. If you've got cards, jam them in. Definitely at the Barbasol. I only have the ability to make 1 or 2 lineups for the Barbasol. Not going to go through it. I did write it up. Wrote it up, a little bit about the course here. And then, like I always do, I targeted 3 guys for the Genesis. I didn't target guys for the Barbasol. It's really hard already to target golfers. And then you got 56 guys. From my perspective, there are only a couple that I really looked into and saw things that I liked from what I've seen at them, at different points in time in the season. If you look up any of these guys statistically, you're going to find flaws. You're going to find things you don't like. I think it's pretty easy in the Barbasol Championship field to find things you don't like about certain golfers. A couple of guys that I'll call out, though, are Justin Lauer playing pretty well as of late. Chad Ramey. Hey, shout out Chad Ramey. Austin Smotherman, Kevin Roy. I think those guys have some upside, are young guys still getting themselves around on the PGA Tour. If guys like that are going to win, they're going to win in a field like the Barbasol. So shout out to a couple of those guys. If you're out there and you need more advice, feel free to hit me up. But it would take a deep dive into some data. And then even then, it is pretty thin to make a decision on any of these guys. So I just didn't really feel all that comfortable putting 3 guys together in the list, like long shot, best odds of mid-range and long shot. So a couple of guys who I've seen some things this year from who I certainly could like. All right, let's do Blitz. Let me do a couple things. Let's set the StreamYard giveaway tool up. Give me a second here, gents. StreamYard. I said we're going to have a golf show next week. It should be a fun one. Can I talk and do 2 things at once? That's the question. It is going to be a show focus on some golf, focus on the Open Championship. Going to have at least the standard Blitz fantasy golf contest. Might also throw in a single entry contest next week as well for the Open Championship. The majors always bring out a bit more people than normal tournaments. So let's just do golf. All right, it's going to be #golf if you're in the chat and you want to enter the giveaway. Let me drop myself a pack so we can open that. And then we'll go through the Blitz game live on air. If you haven't seen Blitz, really fun, really simple way to get into golf and fantasy golf. Really easy. Try to make it as easy as possible. All right, let's go into my account. Here we go. Blitz Fantasy. You'll see we got the Genesis Scottish Open. It's 99 gold to enter. All of the gold from your purchase goes into the prize pool. We got 33 entries in there. We've ranged. First couple tournaments, I think we had 70 or so entries. Then we got 50 in some. And usually we see a nice uptick on Wednesday evening. So if you're not in that contest, get in that contest. Still some solid gold up for grabs. All right, we got the airdrop pack. Here we go. Let's open it up and see what we got. I want to solicit some advice from you all. So how this works, if you haven't seen Blitz Fantasy Golf, you'll open a pack of golfers. 5 golfers in tier 1, 5 in tier 2, 5 in tier 3, and 5 in tier 4. From these 5 golfers that you get in your pack, you'll pick 3 golfers. You'll have a team of 12 golfers, and then you'll have your standard DraftKings scoring, fantasy scoring for the events. You'll have scoring updated on a relatively frequent basis, but and shout out Neil, man, been doing an awesome job with all of these contests. So yeah, should be pretty fun. Let's go reveal all and see who we got. Fleetwood. And we also try to make the game, like I said, as simple as possible. A game for anybody, a game for just a common golf fan. If you're out there, if you got a dad who's into golf, could be a really fun way for people to sweat the action. I know fantasy golf, DFS golf, Reignmakers golf, some of this stuff can be pretty complex. So our goal of this game was to just make it as simple as possible. You'll see also this game, how we do the odds. We really take the top 75 golfers. We take the top 75 golfers and then build the tiers from there. And in those top 75, you'll see golfers that aren't in Rainmakers, guys like Minwoo Lee, Ludwig Aberg, who we were just talking about, other guys who are playing really well on the PGA Tour as of recently find their way into these packs. And maybe you're not getting any exposure from Rainmakers for those golfers. Just a good way to get a little additional exposure. All right. Here's our tier 1 purple, tier 2 green, tier 3 red, tier 4 gold. Who do you guys like? I think we got to go Rory. Plus 1,000, probably playing the best golf. Ricky coming off a big win. Awesome to see Ricky back in the winner's circle. And then, this is tough. My two guys, Tommy and Fitzpatrick sitting here, but then we'd have to fade Ricky. I don't know, chat, where you guys want to go. Of course, whoever wins this pack will be able to go wherever they want to go. I'm not fading Ricky here, so I'm going to go Ricky instead of Fitzpatrick. Going to go Fleetwood a good bit this week. Second tier, Minwoo Lee, previous champion 2 years ago, like him. Ludwig Aberg, not many golfers playing better golf than Ludwig Aberg right now. And then Ryan Fox, Sandbergs, Adam Scott. Would be interested in what you guys think. I'm opting for, I never opt for Sam Burns. Neil, shout out Neil, loves some Sam Burns. I never opt for Sam Burns. I'm going to go Adam Scott here. Just my 2 cents. Kurt Kitayama, Nikolai Højgaard, Ben Hunan, Brandon Wu, Victor Perez. This is where you can take some chances. I'd say the majority of people in tier 3 and tier 4 probably just click in the lowest odds. I think you can get crazy. I like Kurt Kitayama. I like Ben Hunan. Højgaard's was playing good on the PGA Tour when he was first starting to play. Then he kind of came off a little bit of a hot streak. Brandon Wu is as much upside as anyone. So it's a tough choice here. I think I'd go Brandon Wu over Højgaard. Ekro, Higo, Taylor Montgomery, Daniel Hillier, and KH Lee. I love me some KH Lee. Think he has found a little something. Taylor Montgomery, it's just been an abysmal season on the PGA Tour. Garrick Higo, as high as upside as anyone is going to have in the tier 4 range. And I'll just take the odds. Austin Eckroat plus 15,000. So this is how I would fill out this card. Would be interested if you guys would fill out any different. But let's give it away, and then we'll track. I'll be sure to hunt you guys down. I'll hunt down the winner and ask them what they ended up doing with this pack. All right, here we go. Can you guys see that? 2 screens. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. A lot of profile pictures that are Jolly Jokers in this giveaway. So Explore Informed, good luck, buddy. I don't know if you're going to win this one. Briggs, I know you got the KOD robot there. I don't know. Jokers seem to win our giveaways. Let's see. Good luck. Of course, I can't win, so we'll spin again if it hits OTM. Briggs! Shout out, Briggs. The KOD robot comes through for him. Shout out, Briggsy. Oh, Dr. Mean, you just missed it, man. Next show. Just missed it. Shout out Briggsy. Love that KOD has been having a good time. Briggs runs an awesome one and done for KOD. A ton of good alpha on golf betting. If you're into golf betting, if you know of KOD, go over there, tag Briggsy in a comment over there in that Discord. Doing a great job. So shout out Briggs. All right. I think that is going to do it. Somehow talked for an hour and 2 minutes on the Scottish Open and the Barbasol. Kind of crazy when you put it that way, but so be it. There's golf up for grabs this weekend. There will be winners. There will be people taking home 5 figures worth of prizes or more. Good luck to all of you guys. Hit me in the Discord with any final questions. Next week will be a more traditional week, an even bigger week in terms of streams. We'll have a Monday show. TJ and I will be back to normal schedule Monday show, recapping and previewing the Open. We'll probably have a Tuesday show, maybe talking some different golf stuff, featuring Blitz. Going to have a couple different Blitz contests next week for the Open. Should be really fun. Last major of the year. I also have some good sweats going and some other golf contests. We'll talk about that next Tuesday. If you're out there in different golf streets, you may find that pretty interesting. So should be pretty fun. And then Wednesday, of course, I'll be back building my Open Championship lineups on this show the same way we did. All right. I think that'll do it. Shout out you guys all for joining. As always, I really, really appreciate it. Makes for these shows to go a lot smoother, a lot more interactive, a lot better when I just have you guys to interact with. So shout out you guys for being here. All right. Talk to you later. Best of luck this weekend and see you at the top of the leaderboards in the contest later. Peace.